Hi everyone, welcome to Carmen's Australian Storytime. Today I am reading There's a Hole in My Bucket, and it is not just written, it is sung by the Top Twins, and the pictures are by Jenny Cooper. This is a very famous song. I don't actually know if we know who the author of this song is, it's so famous, but there is a CD that you can get with this book to play. Let's see what The Hole in the Bucket is all about. The blurb says, "There's a hole in my bucket, dear Liza, dear Liza. Sing along with the incomparable Top Twins. When Henry, the goat, discovers a hole in his bucket, Liza, the duck, offers a series of solutions to fix it." Hilariously illustrated by Jenny Cooper. This looks like it's going to be a good book. Oh, I skipped a page, sorry. "There's a hole in my bucket, dear Liza, dear Liza. There's a hole in my bucket, dear Liza, a hole. Then fix it, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. Then fix it, dear Henry, dear Henry, fix it." "With what shall I fix it, dear Liza, dear Liza? With what shall I fix it, dear Liza? With what?" With a straw, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. With a straw, dear Henry, dear Henry, a straw. Do you think a straw can fix a hole? Not the kind of straw they're talking about, the hay. I don't think that's going to be strong enough, do you? The straw is too long, dear Liza, dear Liza. The straw is too long, dear Liza, too long. Then cut it, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. Then cut it, dear Henry, dear Henry, cut it. Good idea. "With what shall I cut it, dear Liza, dear Liza? With what shall I cut it, dear Liza? With what?" She's looking a little bit frustrated. He's not thinking for himself, is he? "With an axe, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. With an axe, dear Henry, dear Henry, an axe." She's running at him with an axe. I don't think that's very safe, Liza. "The axe is too dull, dear Liza, dear Liza. The axe is too dull, dear Liza, too dull." Oh, look, she looks very frustrated. Dull means it's blunt, it's not very sharp. "Then sharpen it, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. Then sharpen it, dear Henry, dear Henry, sharpen it." "With what shall I sharpen it, dear Liza, dear Liza? With what shall I sharpen it, dear Liza? With what?" Henry looks busy eating the washing. Don't know that that's a good idea. "With a stone, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. With a stone, dear Henry, dear Henry, a stone." So the stone is what they sharpen the axe on to make it nice and sharp. "But with what shall I wet it, dear Liza, dear Liza? With what shall I wet it, dear Liza? With what?" "With water, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. With water, dear Henry, dear Henry, with water." Now when you're sharpening a stone, the stone has to be wet so that the blade can glide along it and sharpen. "In what shall I carry it, dear Liza, dear Liza? In what shall I carry it, dear Liza? In what?" "In a bucket, dear Henry, dear Henry, dear Henry. In a bucket, dear Henry. Dear Henry, a bucket. Oh, but there's a problem, isn't there? But there's a hole in my bucket, dear Liza, dear Liza. There's a hole in my bucket, dear Liza. A hole. She's so frustrated. Poor Liza. There's a hole in my bucket, dear Liza. A hole. Just start dancing because they can't really fix the problem, can they? And these are the people, if you get the CD, all about the Top Twins. And this is Jenny who did the illustrations. She did a good job, didn't she? Super fun book. Well, thank you for joining me on Carmen's Australian Storytime. I loved reading that book. And it's such a silly, simple song, but so much fun because starts with a hole in the bucket and ends with a hole in the bucket. What do you think you would do to fix the hole in the bucket? Can you come up with a solution? Don't forget to click and subscribe, and I look forward to reading to you again soon. Bye for now and have a great day.